and welcome to another episode of the M42 Adventures Podcast. I am your host, Rick Trimmer, and this is actually the first episode that I am recording of 2025. So a couple weeks into it, took some time off with the family and friends for the holidays, of course, and had a couple banked podcast episodes. And so we played those, and I'm back at it. So 2025, hopefully everybody out there has some big dreams and goals that they're planning on and hoping to achieve. And more importantly than just hoping, hopefully you are dedicated and going to put in the work. So today's episode is an Ask Me Anything. I thought it would be good to, obviously we do one of these a month, and I get questions from people through various social media, emails, texts, whatever. And today I have, just looking here, they just put this in front of me, 25 questions, and have not read them, have not even glanced at these yet. They were just sit down in front of me by Chase, and we are going to jump into these, and I will answer them the best that I can. So appreciate you following along, and let's jump right into these and see what we got. All right. So number one, and Chase, you grab these. Are they in any particular order at all?
No.
Just random from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just start at one and go on down.
Yeah. I figured you just pick the ones you liked if you scan through them real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to start with number one. I haven't read it yet. So let's see what it says. Congratulations on the baby girl on the way. How has this news changed your outlook on parenting? So for those of you who do not know, my wife and I are expecting. The baby is due. She'll actually be here when this podcast comes out, but she's due in a couple days. And I have 3 boys, so 13, 10, and 4. And this is our first little girl. And so it's very exciting. We actually did the gender reveal on our M42 experience in Africa, South Africa. So that was pretty special. I had a bunch of friends and family there. My parents were there, and my kids and my wife were all there. And we did the gender reveal there at the lodge at Buffelspan in South Africa. And to say that we were excited is an understatement. So how has it changed my outlook on parenting? I don't think that it's necessarily changed. I was actually just at my cabin last night alone. Had to go up there and do some little honeydew things and spent some time up there alone. It's pretty quiet up there. And I think as you get older, I'm 44, which I know is pretty crazy for a lot of people to be having a newborn. And so I think as far as just being older, your views on parenting change. Spin walking in on us. Got to lock that door, yeah. Chase. Keep the riffraff out. Yeah. So I think as you get older, it's natural to just, you think about death more. You think about, your legacy. You think about you have more money, which gives you more freedom, more time. And so I think that's probably the biggest change is having a child at 44 compared to my first child at 31. Is just, getting older, wiser, hopefully a little bit. And my outlook on parenting, I know a lot of people think we're crazy. You're having a kid. A lot of them are empty nesters now. I could not be more excited. Like I said, I have the freedom. I don't have to work anymore. Thankfully, the last 8 years I've been able to kind of live on my terms. And so with this little girl coming, we're going to leave, a couple months after she's born and head out and start traveling again and spending time together and just, getting in all the things that I missed in the beginning with my first child because I was working and grinding for years, and you missed first steps, you missed first words, you missed just lots of things that I wasn't able to be there for. And so I'm excited now. The last few, I've been able to be there 24/7. And so, I'm excited. We are excited. We cannot wait to meet her, and we'll keep you posted on that. Okay, number 2. Can you elaborate on the Genesis is free? what inspired this initiative, and how can people get involved? So yeah, to elaborate on the Genesis is free. That's our online community. So the Genesis is our online community for M42 Adventures. We think it's very important to have a community. We could just say be part of M42 Adventures, but the community is where we get to have, we have mentors in there. I think we have 7 mentors now, 6 or 7 mentors. These are professionals in their field, therapists, financial people, travel people, firearms instructors, self-defense people, professional motocross riders, hikers, trail guides here in Zion National Park. I mean, these are people who are professionals in their field, and you get to interact one-on-one with them and other people inside the Genesis. So the Genesis is free. The way that came about, to be honest, was we opened this up in September. We've been getting about 25 to 30 people a month sign up. We're just under 100 right now. And I had a mentor call me, Damien, he was a professional motocross rider for most of his life. And he called me up and he says, "Hey man, I'm just worried that if we start charging for this, that we're going to lose people." And I don't want to lose people. I just didn't want to lose people. I know people are at different stages of their life, and some can afford stuff, some can't. And I just, I thought of M42 years ago, after I had become financially secure, travel in the world, and I sincerely want to help people. That's what I want to do. I want to enrich people's lives through fitness, spirituality, mental health, finances, relationships, and then all the outdoor activities that we do, hiking, biking. I think that's where a lot of the fun in life happens, is outdoors, shooting guns, shooting bows, fishing, hiking, golfing. That's where most people do get their joy in life, travel. And so, I started this company up for that reason, to change lives. That's my mission statement, is to change lives for the better. And we obviously have costs here. We spend thousands of dollars a month on people's pay and rent and, our own memberships to programs that we have to use. And it costs a lot of money to run this company. And we have to, at some point, recoup that. And so we were thinking to charge the members. That's what most communities do. They charge the members and, $100, $200 a month, whatever it is. And that helps cover their operating costs. And when he brought that up, I spent a couple days really thinking about it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to foot the bill. So I went to my partners. I have 4 other partners. Ryan Mickler, which a lot of you guys know from Order of Man, is a partner on this. And then I have some partners in my from my construction companies that I've been partners with for almost a decade now. And we had a meeting, an emergency meeting, and we said, "Hey, are you guys okay to get your wallets out and to pay for this for at least 6 months? And after that, we'll see if we can get sponsors maybe to step up and cover the cost, or our experiences to cover the cost." And they all said yes. They said, "Yeah, we'll do that." So the Genesis is free for members. You don't have to enter a credit card. I know there are a lot of things where it's like there's a catch. I always tell my kids in life, nothing is free. And I tell my kids that nothing is free. With the Genesis, the way that we are making it free for the members is we're going to put that responsibility on, either sponsors or on people who want to come out and actually do the live experiences. And that's how we're going to pay for stuff. So, that's how we're going to hopefully capture some income. And, that's what the Genesis is free. That's how I would elaborate. What inspired it was just sincerely wanting to help people and change lives and make people happier and make the world a better place. And how can people get involved? You can go to m42adventures.com, click on the Genesis link, and sign up. And you're in there, and you'll get a welcome message from Chase, who runs the Genesis. And then you can start, watching the live Zooms with the mentors. I teach the travel Zoom, and I teach the financial Zoom. And you can start getting involved by just saying hi, hello, and coming out to experiences. We got a firearm experience here in a couple weeks. We're working on a lot more. We've got 7, I'll call them bigger experiences where they're overnighters, Costa Rica, Alaska, Hawaii. Those are all sold out. I think we have a couple spots left for Africa, but those ones are a little harder to put together, cost more money, more staff. And so we're limited on how many we can do of those. We're trying to obviously just grow and expand. But that's how you can get involved right now, is get into the Genesis and start saying hi and making friends. All right, number 3. As you prepare for new travels, what destinations are at the top of your list and why? So we've been traveling for the last 8 years. It's actually pretty cool. My anniversary for when I retired was January 4th, 2017. So 8 years ago, almost to the day of this recording, I sold my construction companies and started traveling. I've been to 69 countries, for those of you who are new to the podcast. And we came home to have a baby. She'll be born here in a couple days. And we're going to leave. They said to wait a couple months. We're going to wait 6 weeks. And then we're going to try to keep it in the U.S. for a couple weeks just to make sure that everything's good. But anyway, we're going to head out. So as I prepare for new travels, what destinations on the top of your list are ones that I haven't been to. It's really hard. Me and my wife, we have a lot of discussions on what gets difficult, at least for us, is you want to go back to places that you connected with people. My wife's actually told me on Christmas Eve, she got like 20 messages from people saying, Merry Christmas. And half of those were from people all over the world: New Zealand, Australia, Italy, Germany, whatever. And she says, how cool is that, that we get messages from people all over the world. And so we struggle with, you want to go back and see familiar places, familiar people, things that you love, but then we also want to go see new things. And so we're kind of battling that right now. On my list is I'd like to go to South America. I'd like to do Peru, Panama, Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, some of those things down there that we haven't gotten to. Iceland we haven't been to. Ireland we haven't been to. Denmark, Norway, Sweden we want to go to. So we still have Japan I haven't been to. Turkey we went to for a few days, but I want to go there for a couple weeks minimum. So we're working on that. We also have a new little baby. She's going to be a couple months old. We want to make sure that we're in places that are safe and have good medical attention in case she gets a flu or something. So there's a lot that goes to it. There's a lot that goes into it. Budget, is honestly another thing now that there's 6 of us. I only have to pay for 5 flights still because she's little enough. She's still on the lap, or she will be. Those are the top on mine. Japan, Iceland, I've always wanted to go to, things like that. So anyway, that's that. All right. Number 4, what unique experiences do you hope to bring to M42 Adventure events as you consider expanding to other states? So what we're working on right now is doing, we're working on a lot of experiences here in Southern Utah because that's where our headquarters are. That's where we're from. We have access to ranches, properties that I own and my parents own. Gun ranges that we're part of. All these different things that we have connections with in the community. But we're wanting to expand into other states. That way it makes it easier for people to get there. If you're a state over, you can drive, you don't have to get a flight and all these different things. So we are working on that. Chase is working on that. For those of you who are hearing me say the word Chase, or the name Chase and the word. So Chase came on, a few months ago?
Yeah.
And he is basically going to be the CEO of M42. He is the CEO of M42 Adventures. With me leaving and going to travel, I need boots on the ground. I need somebody here doing the day-to-day running experiences, things like that. And then I will come out as the founder, we'll say. And, I'm going to be involved in as many of those as I can. I'm heading to Costa Rica this year. I'm going to Alaska. I'm going to Hawaii. I'm going on a lot of our experiences. And that's what I want to do. I want to go travel, and then I will mentor, do all the mentoring through the Genesis on my travels, and then the podcast and stuff like that. I still really enjoy doing the podcast. We've got 2 lined up for today with some amazing people. And so that's kind of our role. So when you hear me say Chase, he's actually the guy in charge. He's going to be, the guy where the rubber meets the road and getting things done. And then I'm here for more of a backup role, and going to be out there networking and going on some of these experiences and stuff. So just wanted to clarify that. But yeah, what unique experiences. Chase is working on several of them here. We got an outdoor cooking experience we're working on. Self-defense. We're working on combining some where it'll be like an outdoor cooking with financial coaching seminar. So instead of being, in some boardroom, which is fine, we're going to be out in the mountains and cooking over an open fire and then having financial coaching there. So it's kind of a little spin on it to get people outside. So he's working on all those. And then, with different states comes different opportunity. We're working on fly fishing experiences and deep sea fishing experiences, and we don't have, an ocean here in St. George. So it also is where our mentors are based. We've got Damien, who's in, I think, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
He's got access to racetracks out there that we can do the motorcycle experience out there. And so that's a lot of the things that come into play on that. So yeah, we'll see where this goes, where Chase takes it. But I'm excited to see and be a part of them. Okay, number 5. How have new mentors? I was just thinking, Chase, when I get to about 45 minutes or so, wave me out so that we can. I'd like to keep these less than an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5. How have new mentors influenced your approach to leadership and community building within the Genesis? So obviously, I just gave you the story about how Damien, who is a mentor, basically made it free, for all the other members. So I listen to my people. I don't think that I have it all figured out. That's one thing about this community that I would say is unique is, a lot of communities, and again, I'm not trying to knock them. This is just the way they do it and the way I do it. So the way they do it is it's one person who is in charge. They're the top of the ladder, and they are the ones who are coaching or educating. And with me, Chase, he's our firearm instructor. He's forgotten more than I'll ever know about firearms. He's got a lifetime dedicated to cooking and to firearms. And so for me, it just made sense to get him to come in there and be our mentor for those 2 channels. And, so when he comes to me and says, hey, I have an idea on how to do the firearm classes, I'm all ears. I'm going to listen. So they've had a huge influence on how we are building the community, how we're building the Genesis. And also, some of them, Seth Studley, he's our spirituality, mental health mentor, and he's been doing this for 20 years professionally, speaking all over the world, Abu Dhabi, Dubai. His resume's profound, and I love his phone calls. I love his Zoom calls. They're very, very, every time I get on a 1-hour Zoom call and listen to Seth talk to us about mental health and spirituality, I get books to read, notes, quotes that I think about for the next few days and implement. And so it's been a huge effect on me. And that's, again, I said in the beginning, the reason I built M42 Adventures is to help people, myself included. Like, I am not perfect. My life is not all figured out. I still fight with my wife. I still yell at my kids. I still stress about money. I still struggle with, spirituality. I still struggle with my weight. It's like we all have our problems. Everybody. every single person. And this is hopefully to give me an edge up, or one of our shirts we're working on right now is Mentors, Life's Cheat Codes. And I look at it as that, books and mentors. I actually was at the skate park the other day with my son. He just got a scooter for Christmas and has never ridden. And we bought it, went to the skate park, and he's riding around. He's nervous. He doesn't know how to drop in on any of the bowls or anything. He doesn't, he's just new, brand new. He shouldn't know how. And he's like, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what I'm, he's just overwhelmed. And there's this kid going around doing backflips and crazy stuff. I'm like, holy cow. And I went up to him. I says, hey, buddy. He's like 13, 14 years old, about my son's age. And I said, hey, buddy, would you give my son lessons? And he's like, what? What do you mean? And I says, well, you're really good. He's not. Can I pay you to help him learn some of the basics? And he's like, well, I'm not a coach. I don't. And I says, could you spend an hour with my son and give him some tips? And he's like, yeah, for sure. And I says, is it okay if I pay you $20? And he's like, sweet.
That's awesome.
And he rode around with my son. And at the end of the day, my son was dropping into a couple of bowls, not the hard, big ones. But anyway, my son at the end was like, wow, that was cool. He helped me a ton and that was amazing. And I said, that's what life is about. Like, you find the people who are, have the body you want and talk to them. And you have the people who have the car you want, talk to them. You have the people who are traveling like you want, talk to them. And this community, this company facilitates that and makes it a lot more easy, breaks down the walls so that you can come to these people and ask them about, finances or travel or how to get a gun and protect your family. And we have willing, able, trained, knowledgeable people to give you that. And so that's just a little story of the other thing that it gave my son, which we went there a few days later. That kid was there, and my son the first day shows up and he's nervous. There's kids riding around. He doesn't know anybody. That's a huge thing with a lot of us humans, is putting ourselves out there. We look like idiots, so we just don't do it. And he was feeling that. He's riding around. He's like, Dad, I don't even, these little kids that are 5 years old are passing me. And he says, I feel stupid. And I says, you shouldn't know how to do it. You haven't ever done it. Get over that. Don't worry about what other people think of you. This is your life. Learn it on your timeline. All these kids had to start somewhere. All these kids were you at some point, whether it was 5 years ago, 2 months ago, 10 years ago. Nobody comes out here and starts dropping into bowls on a scooter instantly. So get over that. And so what happened was we went down there a few days later, and that kid came over and he's like, hey, what's up, Castle? How's it going, buddy, man? Good to see you. And he made a friendship beyond the mentorship. So now, that's the other thing that you don't realize. A lot of these people who were my mentors, Ryan Mickler and Brandon Lilly and Trevor Farnes, and I can name, dozens of people that I looked up to that are living amazing lives, are now my friends. Now I text them, I call them, they come out and we have dinner. I go to their houses. Like, it's so obvious to me that it's crazy. And so I want to encourage people to find your mentors. If it's not with us, go find someone else. Grab that person at the skate park, grab that person at the gym. At the gun range. If you're at the gun range and you got a new gun and you don't know how to shoot it, I would bet you almost money if there's a guy next to you shooting well and you said, hey, man, I just have a couple quick questions. I'm in over my head. 9 out of 10 people will say, oh, sure, let me help you out. What do you got? I'll give you, 5 minutes of my time. They're excited about this and they want to help you. The people who say, who push you down or whatever, yeah, move on, go to the next stall and don't let that defeat you. You may run into that person, but that's rare. So that's kind of a long-winded one, but that's a good question. Let's see. What strategies do you use to maintain a balanced diet while on the road? So yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, man. It's funny because I'm not a huge fitness guy. I hate the gym. I actually didn't ever work out in my life until about age 40. I'd never gone into a gym. Just didn't care for it. I always got my fitness from riding dirt bikes or hiking. whatever, naturally, I just never went and lifted iron up and down, and got to where I was, you start getting more sedentary, sitting at the desk more, or traveling more, sitting on cars more. Started putting on and eating everything. I eat everything when I travel, and started putting on weight. And I thought, man, I got to change something. I actually went to swimming. So the first thing I did was I went to swimming, and in Italy, I remember for like a month, every single Airbnb I booked had to have a pool. And I would swim 100 laps a day for months. And I lost like 25 pounds. I loved it. It was really good. And then I started, just in the last couple of years, getting into more strength training and things like that as you get older. But the balanced diet's tough. Honestly, I do not do that. To be fair, I don't do it. I'm in Italy. I'm in, wherever I'm at in the world, I'm going to eat their food. I'm going to indulge. That's what travel has become a big part of for me, is food. And I don't want to, so I just, now I either try to eat smaller portions, or I have to work out. And so the last couple of years, we were just in Europe road tripping for 3 months. And the day I landed, well, maybe the next day after the jet lag wore off, we went to it's called Marathon, I think was the name of their store over there. That's like a Big Five or something. And I bought a set of weights for $50, dumbbells, and I bought a jump rope, some rubber bands, those, the bands, and a set of weights for maybe it's like $100 total, and put that in our car. And I would lift and work out everywhere we went for those 90 days. And at the end, I, left it at the Airbnb we stayed at, and went on to the next place. So that's a tough one. That's a really hard one. But yeah, you can usually balance it out with portion size and then a little bit of physical activity. So, all right. How do you engage your 3 boys in your work and adventures? Do they have favorite activities? So I don't do much with them with work. My oldest is 13. We've just started having the conversations on what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? Things like that. But I've tried to let them enjoy their childhood. I don't, I just want them to I always tell them I want them to live their life in chapters. And right now, I don't need him worrying about work and that kind of stuff. We're starting to have the conversations. I'll get more into that when he's 14. And the other ones I do not talk to. I don't have them engage in my work. But with like Castle, we're talking about maybe on this next trip, having him start to maybe film a little bit of it and do some of that to where he can make a little bit of extra money and start learning something if he enjoys it.
Isn't that something he already kind of told you he would be interested in doing?
No, it was Hayes actually that did. Hayes likes that, but Castle, he never came out and said it, but when I brought it up to him, he kind of lit up, so that's where I kind of said, I says, hey, we'll try it. We'll see, and then, if I never force my kids, I don't, I always tell them, I don't care what you do, as long as you do it well. All right, guys, let's step away from this conversation real quick and talk about a few things we have going on with M42 Adventures. First off, it's the new year. Everybody's got big goals, big plans. And one way that I think helps people to achieve those goals is through mentors and accountability. So we have our online community called The Genesis. And we just announced a few weeks ago that it is going to be free for at least the first 6 months of 2025. So if you're interested in coming in, joining these like-minded people, we have just under 100 people in there now. We have 7 mentors teaching everything from finance, self-help, spirituality, self-defense. There's just so many in there. Firearms, all these
relationships.
Relationships. Yep. All these different things. So if you're interested in that, go to m42adventures.com and sign up. Again, it is free. You don't have to enter your credit card. There's no strings attached. Check it out. Second, we have a big giveaway that we're going to be launching here in the next week or two. You do have to be a member of the Genesis to win that. Again, no purchase necessary. But that's going to be amazing. We're going to get that up pretty quick here. So keep following us. Continue to pay attention to that. And then we also have our expenses for this year. We have sold out most of them. We have Africa, some spots left for South Africa still, and we have some spots left for Hawaii. So if you're interested in either one of those, again, get inside the Genesis. That's where all things are happening. I can't tell you enough about it. Get in there, sign up, and then we can talk personally. So that's it. Let's get back to this conversation. Are trustworthy and reliable and all the good words, you know. As far as the adventures, though, man, we have a blast. You know, wherever we're at, I try to lead by example. One that comes to mind instantly is we were in Croatia. I'm gonna get this town wrong. I can't even remember the name of the town. Dubrovnik. And we were walking around. I'm in nice clothes. You know, we were walking around the city, doing on a tour, and we come to this. It's a city surrounded by a wall, a medieval city. And they have a wall around it for defense. And there was people coming in and out of this hole, like a gate. I had to duck. I'm 6'5". It was like 5 feet tall. And I'm like, what's going on? What's over there? And they're like, it's a restaurant. It's called like Beyond the Wall or Outside the Wall restaurant. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's kind of, you know, unique. So we pop through. It's me and my wife and 3 little boys. And there's people there having drinks and appetizers and food and stuff. And it's literally on this little cliff outside the wall, and the ocean's right there. It's right on the ocean. And we sit down and we start having some food and stuff. And I look over and there's people cliff jumping right next to us. And I'm like, what's happening over there? And they're like, oh yeah, there's a little spot to cliff jump. And I'm like, well, let's go check that out. So we walk over there and I'm watching people do it. And I'm like, I'm doing it, you know, let's jump. And my wife's like, what? Rick, we'll come back, you know, whatever. And I says, no, I'm not doing the comeback thing. Hopefully we do, and that'll be great. But I'm here right now. You know me, Gina. And by then I'm already to my boxers. And she just shakes her head and laughs. And I went up and I says, I'm going to jump off. And it was probably like 25 feet or something, nothing crazy. And I jump off and I climb out. And my boys are like, that's crazy, Dad. You know, my 12 and 10-year-old at the time, or 9-year-old. And I'm like, you guys should do it. And they're like, oh, no, we can't do it, you know. And I'm like, you can do it. It's okay. It's safe. It's deep and it's not that high and you'll be fine. And I go to start climbing up and I talked my older son into doing it. I talked him into do it. My younger son wanted to do it. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. Anyway. And there was a local there and he's like, hey, you know, kids don't really do this. And I'm like, is it not allowed? And he's like, no, they just usually don't do it. And I'm like, well, can we? Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, you can, I guess, but it's pretty high. And I'm like, yeah, it's not that high. You know, we grew up at Lake Powell, jumping our whole lives. And he's like, well, if you're the parent, you know. So I get up there and there's people obviously watching and filming and paying attention. And anyway, we get up there and they're nervous, they're scared. And I says, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I promise it's okay. Long story short, they sit there for a while and, you know, hum and hawed and whatever. And then finally, Hayes, my younger one, was like, he wanted to do it. And I kept saying, let me have Castle do it first. Make sure everything's good. You're a little young. And finally, Hayes was like, please. And I says, if you think you can do it, go ahead. You know, good for you. I trust you. And he hopped off and then Castle wanted to do it right after. And so that's kind of the way we live, you know, is when we're out there, and as they're getting older as well, they're my sidekicks. Mm-hmm. We just went to a theme park in California. They were both nervous to go on the roller coaster. I talked them into it, and then they couldn't do it enough. We literally went on this one. It's the highest free hanging roller coaster in California, and we went on it probably 15 times in a row. There was no wait. It was on like 4th of July or something, and I thought it would be packed, and it was empty.
That's crazy.
And we went round and round and round. And so, yeah, anytime we're out there doing something, I try to not say, hey, you go do this. I say, you know, I'm going to do it, and if you guys want to join me. And they usually do. So it's getting funner, too, as they get older. They join me a lot more. Okay, What are we at, Chase? What's the time here?
33 minutes.
Okay, we got a couple more. I'm gonna try to. I got 25. I'm gonna try to get to. I'm gonna put a line here, and go right there, whatever that is, halfway. Okay, so what are some valuable lessons you've learned from being a father that apply to your professional life? Man, that is all of them. All of them. There's so many that it's, be honest, be dependable, be hardworking, be compassionate. There's so many things. It's very similar. It's very similar. My employees, they're trying to better their lives. They're trying to make money to take care of their families. And so, a lot of the aspects of being a father and being the head of the household as the CEO, and Chase, you're going to feel this as you get going here. The mentors are going to look up to you. They're going to rely on you. They're going to, you're going to be building something that, all these members and all these mentors and sponsors and all these people are going to be looking to you for the answers and for the guidance. And, you have to have that. As a father, you've got to know that you got food on the table. You have to know that you have, a roof over your head. You have to know that, you're taking care of them and that you're compassionate. And obviously, there's going to be days where you fail and you have problems and you learn and you adjust but yeah, it's very similar. It's a very similar role where, because all my businesses I've been the CEO of. And so it's very, very similar as far as that aspect where, I have partners. I've got to listen to them. We just had a partner meeting this morning on my construction company. There was 5 of us in the room. I can't bulldoze them or belittle them. They're my partner, like my wife. I have to hear their concerns. I have to, and again, at the end of the meeting, it was all business for an hour. And at the very end, I said, "Hey, does anybody here need any support or anything personally?" And 3 of them said, "We're good." And one of them said, "No, I'm about to have surgery. I'm very scared. If you guys could pray for me, I would sincerely appreciate that." And I said, "Absolutely." So there's a lot of correlation there where I love these people, my employees and I would not be where I'm at, where I could retire at 36 and travel the world without these people. And so I am very loyal and I'm very, I do everything I can to try to make their lives be better, and more fulfilled. And so, yeah, those are the lessons, I guess, the valuable lessons that I've learned are listen before you speak, realize there's always 2 sides, to the story or to the issue. A lot of times I remember back in the day where I'd fire someone and just think of what it did for me, why I was firing them and how I justified it. And you don't think about what it's doing to them, and how they're affected. Or not even firing, but just, whether you can give them a raise or not, or a Christmas bonus, or all these different things. So yeah, it's intertwined. Keep being a man of your word, keep, I think being how do I want to say this? Being something that they can rely on. Whatever, like my kids know that I'm going to be there. I have their best interest in mind. I think that's a huge thing that employees and partners want to know is, that I'm always there and I'm not going anywhere when things get tough, and I've got your back, like in our marriage, we never say that, we never talk about divorce. We never just mention that. That's not an option.
That's a rule in my marriage too.
Yeah.
We don't even say it.
Yeah. It's like, we're not going there. We're just going to figure this out. And that's the same with business. It's like we've gone through good times and bad times with the recession. I mean, horrible times. And it was just, we're going to get through this together. And so, yeah, those are probably the biggest takeaways. Okay. Number 10, in what ways do you think your upcoming daughter will change the dynamics of your family? Yeah, it's going to be, I'm actually curious for this. My wife just keeps saying, Just wait. She's going to have you wrapped around her finger. Just wait. And I'm a very like logical, thought out, realistic person. And I know there's going to be a difference. I know that, but I'm very curious to see what it feels like. You know, I'm very curious to see if it's what people say and if that's true. I hope it is, you know, I why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
You know,
my cousins, you know, they're like my brothers, but they both ended up with 3 girls.
mm-hmm.
And it was so different to see them change as men when they had their daughters. Before, you know, they were married and you know, they were still them. But when their daughters were born, something changed.
Yeah.
And it's something like that. I wouldn't really say so much like wrapped around their finger, you know, but she's, you know, they developed this kind of different relationship that takes them outside of their masculine, which is interesting.
Yeah.
You know, and so, yeah.
And I'm excited for that. You know, I will embrace that. You know, I'm one of those guys where I want to go on this ride of life. You know, I want to taste the food. I want to see I want to walk on the beach. I want to have sons and daughters, you know? So I'm excited. I hope it does. Why not? But yeah, as far as, what ways do I think? I don't know, man. It's going to be 3 little boys that have a little sister. I think they're going to just be head over heels for her. It's something different. It's something new. I mean, all the things you would think, you know, it's just going to be a totally different dynamic. And, I'm excited to experience that. I think life is about experiences and memories and all the different things. And it's going to be hopefully an amazing one. All right. Okay, I'm going to go with 2 more here. So 11, what have you encountered any inspiring individuals during your travels recently, and what lessons did they share? Yeah. Yeah. That's one cool thing. I've actually got a couple trips coming up here pretty quick that I've been excited for the last couple months, that I think are going to be very, very, very cool. But over the past, during your travels recently, one that comes to mind is Greg Godfrey. He came out, the founder of Nitro Circus, came out and stayed at my ranch in November over Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Brought his whole family out. I think there was like 12 or 13 of them. And we spent the day together with helicopters and side-by-sides and, you know, just having a good time. And he's actually going to come be on the podcast. He's coming out. We're going to record hopefully end of January, 1st of February. So I'm excited for that one. But absolutely inspiring, you know. And I told him when we met, he says, nice to meet you. What's up? You know, how did our conversation started? Just, you know, what are we going to get into here? And I told him the reason I wanted to meet with him was not the money. The money aspect of stuff it's impressive. You know, it's kind of like somebody who's fit. You look at somebody who's got a 6-pack and it's like, that's impressive, but that's not immediately going to draw me to them as far as a friend or, you know, acquaintance. It's just something I think, man, that takes a lot of hard work to get that body or to get that money in your bank account. I know that you had to do a lot of things that most people aren't willing to do. So immediately I already put you on something there. But what really set Greg apart was he did a video on Father's Day, and it was like a 10-minute video or something. I don't remember, but I could just tell he was a good dad, a good person. And that's what I told him when I met him. You know, I says, man, you know, Nitro Circus is cool. The life you've led is cool and exciting. But what I am drawn to as far as wanting you in my circle or, you know, having a friendship with you is, how you are as a person, how how you seem to be as a father and a husband. And, we had some good conversations, good talks. His sons were there. They're studs, his couple sons, and then his son, I think it was his son and his stepson, son-in-law. And, just good people, just cool people that are having fun, living life, good parents, good, you know, the wives. My wife sat there and talked with the wives for hours, and we both left, and she just said, they're good people, just good souls. And that's what, inspires me these days is people who are, good people, good values. And that's what I'm more inspired by than, what car you drive or how many zeros you have in your bank account. So that's one that stands out. All right. Number 12, what advice would you give to expectant parents about managing their time and energy?
That's a really good one because you guys are both really busy.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's one of those things where I was telling my wife the other day, it's funny because we will leave for years at a time. And it was funny because when I left last year, 2023, we were gone the entire year traveling. And it was funny because I would get a phone call, like one to two phone calls a week. And it was usually, in the beginning, I get a lot of phone calls. Hey man, what's up? You want to grab lunch? I'm like, hey, I'm in Europe for a year. And those fade away after about 30 days or so. And from 30 to 60 days on, it's people like my parents or business partners or people who have to talk to me. And it's weird because I told Gina, my wife, I says, when we come home, it's crazy how fast we pack our schedules. And there's not enough time in the day. And I've got to go over here and I've got to do this and I got to do that and I got to do this. And then we leave and that all goes away. It is so shocking. It's like, I don't know why we or I do it, but that's a big reason I want to go travel. A big reason I want to go. My kids are getting older. We promised them that they wouldn't travel during high school. So we've only got a couple years left. And so, but I'm going to make it happen because it is a perfect way to manage our time and our energy. When we're out there, we have breakfast every morning together. We go walk on the beach or we climb the mountain or we sit in the hot tub or we work out together. Everything is together 24/7. When you go put yourself with your family unit in Costa Rica or, Lithuania or New Zealand or all these places, that's the only people within thousands and thousands of miles. And so it forces you to spend time together and your energy together. And so that's a big thing that we do that controls that. When we're home, it's hard. It's a lot harder. You're getting pulled away from it I still don't work, but I work 1 day a week at M42. I've got my rental properties, which takes some of my time. I've got the gym and friends and family and all these people that are vying for your time. And so it naturally just creates busyness and it is hard to juggle it. Not even just the fact that you give them the time, but after you've given them time and you do get home, you're tired, you're exhausted, and they want to, I've got little kids that want to jump on the trampoline. I jump hours and hours a week on the trampoline or sit in our hot tub, or we go for walks now on the golf course, almost every night. Nice. And my wife is like, you don't have to tonight, and I'm like, that's one big thing that we have made a very conscious decision of is, yes, we're older parents. I've got a newborn coming in and I'm going to be 44. I am 44. And that's a big reason why in the last couple months I've lost another 15 pounds. I'm trying to get down to 220, which is my high school weight. Haven't been there in a decade or more. And not even just less weight, but I've been going to the gym and I'm doing a lot of cardio, a lot of lifting, so that I have the energy to chase this little girl around and to, carry my son. My 4-year-old loves riding on my shoulders because he thinks he's the tallest thing in the land.
Yeah, it's the best.
and so I literally walk around the house and like do the dishes or, put my clothes away or whatever with him on my shoulders. Mm-hmm. He's just up for the ride and I'm doing normal everyday things because that's what he's excited about. That's what he loves. So I think I heard this quote the other day and I was going to post this, but I'm so bad about social media, but it says, most parents say I would die for my kids. but would you live for them?
Mm.
You know, and that's really, I heard that a few months ago and I thought, man, that's such a good one. I hear so many people say, I'd give my kid, you know, my heart or my liver or my, you know, my kidneys if I had to. But would you lose 40 pounds and, you know, be able to walk to the park with them? Like, your kids don't want you just to live.
Mm.
They want you to engage. They want to spend, you know, quality time with you. And so I think if you're out there and you know, a lot of people need that why, that reason that they're going to lose weight or quit smoking or stop drinking. I think the best why is, or the reason is, your children, your spouse, your friends, your parents. You know, if you're not going to do it for yourself, which you should, find that reason beyond that really compels you. And so, yeah, that's the advice I'd give to expectant parents about managing their time and energy, is just figure out ways to make the time, find the energy, get in better shape, say no to people. You know, I say no all the time now, to lunches and to dinners and to trips and to whatever, because no offense to those people, but I would rather spend time with these ones or that one or this one, you know? And so managing your time, saying no, getting in shape is going to just make you that much better of a parent going into this. So are we about an hour? Where are we at?
We're at 50 minutes.
50 minutes. I'm going to do one more right here.
Did you see one you liked?
Yeah, no, I haven't even read it, but I'm going to do one more and then I'm halfway. So how do you keep your creative juices flowing when faced with the challenges of work and family life? They are my creative juices. You know, that's the easiest thing to say. With work and family life, what makes me create is them. With work, you know, it's with M42 and trying to be creative and you know, the way I keep it flowing is by being engaged, by talking to people, looking on what other people are doing, you know, what other communities are doing, what other mentors, what other coaches, and let's see, how do you keep your creative juices flowing when faced with the challenges of work? And they're not challenges, you know. I mean, I guess I understand the point of when you run into something, when you're tired, how do you stay, you know, creative and stuff like that. But again, the reason I am creative and the reason I try and the reason that I get up every morning is because of my family, number one, and then work. Now we call it work. I don't do anything. I just consult with my other companies. M42 is a passion. You know, I love this. You know, I do it for free, literally. Yeah. So, it's the creativity and, the way I keep my creative juices flowing is just what's next, you know, the next adventure, the next trip, the next child. It's like, that is my creativity. That's what keeps it interesting. So the correlation's the same. All right, man. I think that's a good place to stop right there. Again, thank you for everybody listening. Please like and share this. If you liked what you heard, I know there's a lot of personal stuff there, which is, I guess, good. You know, if people want to know more about that, I'm happy to share. Going forward, if you want to be involved in the Genesis, if you want to check out what we're doing in there, go to M42Adventures.com. And if you want to be a part of any adventure, that's the first people we're going to market to. Like I said, we launched 7 experiences, 13 weeks. A couple of them are 2-weekers, 2 experiences at one location, 13 different groups. And they sold out in a couple days. Just to our email list and our friends and our family and people in the Genesis. So if you're wanting to come on, I get texts and messages and emails and stuff like that, DMs, people saying, hey, when's your next hunt? When's your next thing? And it's like, get in the Genesis. You know, or I need help with my business. I'm trying to figure out how to sell it, or I'm trying to figure out how to, I want to travel to Bali, but I'm worried and I don't know how to plan it. Get inside the Genesis. That's how you have access to me. I'm done with all the different ways of correspondence. If you want access to me and these other mentors that are amazing, it's unbelievable the value that we're building in there, and we're adding more all the time.
Oh yeah.
We just got Dana, who came in. Her podcast came out last week. If you didn't listen to that, go check it out. Amazing person. These are great people who are donating their time. And so, yeah, if you want to connect with us, go to the Genesis. Sign up for the Genesis. And other than that, hopefully you have a great weekend, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks.